I know the session has a lot less strength because day one was the one when we saw the strength. However, we are still continuing it. Uh, so, yeah, I welcome all of you for this follow-up session on water transversality in action for energy, environment, and health nexus. We had session one yesterday, wherein we had five, presentations circling around arsenic water, groundwater management by S.K. Sharma, a former member, Central Groundwater Board, and also few of the presentations for ESG framework and others. Today we'll be having five more presentations by Ms. Kavita Prasad, is one of our first presenters. She'll be presenting. She is the senior consultant at India Water Foundation, and I would request, Dr. Veena Khanduri, a country director, India Water Partnership. She is also engaged with the India Water Foundation. I would request her to be as a panelist here and please chair the session and steer it as well. Veena ma'am, please.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Today we are going to have this session as a follow-up session of yesterday. And I think in this room, the people who were present yesterday, they are also present today. And I think what Ashish said, that there is a very less people in the room, it doesn't matter, because the subject, if you see in the international forums, in one room hardly 5 or 6 people are there, but they all are working on the same issues, and that's why the focus and concentrated discussion is a lot better. So I think we will start with this genesis, and yesterday there were some presentations, and you people were part of it, and you have also discussed. And the beauty of this particular session, I must emphasize that all are the young researchers and young practitioners who will be the leading scientist or the policy people or the practitioners, budding practitioners. So whatever work they are doing, this platform is giving them a recognition to speak about their work and to share this at a large platform. So with this genesis, I would like to invite Kavita, and over to Kavita. And if you have that paper, please give me. I can just further elaborate.
I'll just read it.
Yeah, please.
Ms. Kavita Prasad is an experienced social scientist and technical consultant with over 12 years of expertise in social development, gender, environment, health, international law, and research and development. As a member of IWF Advisory Council, she leads initiatives that drive innovation and sustainable growth in the biotech sector. Currently, as a senior technical consultant with the India Water Foundation, Ms. Prasad focuses on gender issues, POSH, and AI ethics, contributing to policies that promote social inclusivity. She also serves on IWF's advisory board, guiding strategies for water resources management and sustainability. Kavita ma'am, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you, Veena ma'am, for the encouraging words.
Thanks.
Respected delegates, my fellow members, and dear friends, I welcome you all in this session. And this session is very crucial for me because we'll be talking about AI in action here. Past few decades has been witnessed that climate shocks are no longer a distant event. They arrive in our city, in our homes and hospitals, and they expose how deeply this system is intertwined. Yes, I'm talking about water, energy, health and environment. Cities like Delhi feels this pressure acutely. A single monsoon can cascade from flooded streets to failed pumps to power outages and contaminated water. We are okay. We all are witnessing proxy wars across the globes, and this will definitely catalyze the climate change. I have tried to develop an AI tool and I named it HydroNet specifically for Delhi. Being a Delhiite, I know the problems and challenges of the system. Let's dive into this. Why this matters? Why the transversality of water, energy, and environment matters to us. The first issue with Delhi is the Nexus challenge. What is the Nexus challenge? Can anybody tell me? Our system work in silos. See, we have different ministries, we have different institutions and authorities, but most of the time they work independently, they hardly coordinate. So the main problem is the intertwining issues and data, more importantly. And second issue is the cascading reality that Delhi's radius is around 100 kilometers, and there are around 800 slum patches in that small area. So, sewage network system and power supply grid is the practical issue and challenge for Delhiites. Does our government know this issue? Where is the technical gap? We have to address this. First is, as I told you, fragmented system. Existing system predicts floods and manage and pumps, but they operate independently. Second issue is reactive decisions. We don't usually share data on seconds basis. We share in the government system. We work on, the work generally prolongs for a week or minimum 2-3 days. So reactive decision and application of that decision is the second issue. Third is invisible vulnerabilities. Especially, I'm talking about the health system. It is fractured. What that AI tool, HydroNet Delhi, delivers to us. It will provide us the maximum probabilities for the forecast. It will take 6 to 8 hours prediction of flood and energy vulnerabilities across the entire urban landscape. Second one is the action bundles. This system will prioritize, what is the red line, where is the red line about flood depth, energy cost, and health exposure. It will rank it accordingly so that we can work. Third is equity protection. That AI system will mark the expected liabilities and available assets. Fourth one is explainable recommendation. As you know, AI is expert in that. It will collect the data from the globe and recommend the suggestions. This is the most important and the simplest slide of this system architecture. I have divided that in 3 columns. First is data sources, our inputs. Second one is AI core stack, that how that system will work. Third one is output and interfaces. In the data sources, the first column will provide the IMD radar, the satellite imageries, the river and drain gauges, pump data, and citizens' health data, so that the system can have the appropriate food. The core AI stack is combined with the data fusion. It will tell the physics that what is the physics of water, what is the physics of soil, and what is our topology, the nature of the natural elements. so that we can have the desired output in the form of ICCC consoles and Science Explorer user interfaces. My technical approach for this AI method is based on 5 elements: hybrid physics, which is the machine learning backbone. Second is forecasting. We have to have the maximum probability factors for the forecasting. Third is generative policies. We have, our government has provided the beautiful policy structure. So this system will grab and imbibe those policies, generate it accordingly, and will provide the answers to the maximum optimization methods. This will explain the equity module. This is the simulation. In this simulation, in a first step, we'll have the incoming radar with baseline, and that baseline will provide input to the HydroNet analysis, and we can compare the outcomes for the flood, pumps, sewage system, networks, and hospital structures. Fifth one, and the next step, is the explainability card. The main drivers of the AI system can interchange the data and provide us the best recommendations. These are the measurable outcomes of this policy impact. This system will cover basically the SDG challenges of 6, 7, 13, 3 and 17, that are water, energy, climate change and partnership. We can judge that system with available operational KPIs, and definitely we have to have institutional feedback in the form of proper guidelines, SOPs and structures. Governance, ethics and replication. Last month, India has conducted the successful AI summit, and in that summit our PM has introduced a beautiful framework for AI system, that is the Manav framework. We have to work with AI in the most moral and ethical way, which has to support the national sovereignty. This is the pilot plan. I have designed it for the Yamuna and Najafgarh corridor, and it will take around 18 months time, with a short budget of 3 to 6 crore rupees. Because this year's budget for the AI and semiconductor is only 1%. It's approximately 2,000 CR, whereas Japan's physical budget for this year 26-27 is more than 10%. So we have to cut short our budget. And these are the steering committee's ideas. Definitely will ask about the stakeholders, prepare the budget and work accordingly. Thank you so much.
So thank you, Kavita, for providing a real perspective, and as you have taken the Najafgarh drain, and long back in 2017-18, with the participation of the Delhi government and India Water Partnership and the real agency, this is DLF, we have come up with a plan for the Najafgarh drain, and that was submitted to the Haryana government. And since Delhi government was part of it, so Delhi has to also contribute, but that has not materialized, but we have prepared. Now I'm happy that you are taking the tool HydroNet for doing this study or modeling. So my first question is, like, you have talked about the data source and you have given the CWC and IMD data. So will you be able to access the CWC data Is there any?
It's not available for the public.
That's why I'm saying.
We have to first form the steering committee and invite all the ministries and institutions and civil societies for that, and then accordingly they'll decide how to get the accurate data.
Because CWC data is not in the public domain.
Yes,
So that is one constant which I'm telling you, number one. Number two, IMD data also has some limitations, and I think there are some researchers from IIT, they can talk in much detail because they are also involved in research. So how you will be able to generate the output, because the data is the one constraint, and then you have to work on the interface also. So that is two things, but it is a good idea that when we talk about the transversality, and you have chosen three aspects, like you are touching on the flood, number one, and I think in this you have missed one part. Drainage is very important, because this flood is related to the drainage.
sewage network.
Yes.
Drainage, and
So that I think if you have already taken this into the consideration, that is very good. The other part which you have talked about, the budget, and you are taking this in which domain area. Basically you talked about the AI, because it's a AI driven model.
AI system, and most of the tools are available free in AI.
Okay. So, who is the nodal agency whom you are going to approach?
No idea, ma'am. I'll approach to the Indian Water Foundation, and they'll work for that.
No, no.
Basically, Delhi Jal Board is the has to be the nodal agency.
There will be several stakeholders, because it is not a one agency work. This when you are talking about the Najafgarh drain, it is a part of the plan of Haryana government also. And this Sahibi river and this Najafgarh drain is a part of Sahibi river, because Sahibi river turn into the Najafgarh Nala now. So you have to be very careful about the stakeholders, mapping.
I've noted down the Delhi Jal Board, IMD, CWC, DDMA, and IIT Delhi in the steering number.
Okay, thank you. So now we can move to the next presentation. We have Mr. Anup Dongre. He's a research scholar at Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering, IIT Delhi, and his research focuses on remote sensing and AI-based modeling for root zone, soil moisture estimation, crop water stress assessment, and irrigation decision support using multi-sensor satellite data for sustainable agriculture water management. Over to Anup.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, good evening to everyone. I am Anup Dongre, and we have done our work on the topic integrating soil moisture based irrigation advisory into groundwater energy governance, water energy health environment nexus approach for sustainable agriculture. This work was done by me and one of my colleague Gopal Prasad Patel, and was mentored by Professor A.K. Keshri from IIT Delhi. First of all, the background. As we all know that the Punjab state faces the severe groundwater problem, that is the depletion of groundwater. So when we talk about groundwater, we should also talk about the energy, because the groundwater majorly depends upon the energy, because pumping of groundwater requires the energy, that is electricity. So the intensive rice wheat agriculture in Punjab heavily 3 to 35% of electricity is used for the agriculture. The approximate water table decline per year is 0.5 to 1 meter per year, and the 1.4 million agriculture pump are there, and majority of the blocks have been categorized as overexploited by the CGWB, And this figure actually shows the water, energy, agriculture, environment nexus. So the study area that we have actually chosen for our study is the Sangrur district of the Punjab, which is actually located in the central Punjab, and it is being characterized by the intensive irrigated agriculture. Uh, uh, it has the fertile soils and a strong dependence on the groundwater irrigation. It has 7 administrative blocks. So we have done our study based on the block wise. So that is Sangrur, Sunam, Duri, Leher Gaga, Dirba, Munak and Bhavanigarh. And due to the most major problem is due to the severe intensive pumping. The most blocks in the districts fall under the overexploited groundwater category. Total area is 3600 kilometers square, and the dominant cropping system is rice wheat system. So the data sources that we have actually used is the SAR Sentinel-1 SAR satellite data, and for the soil moisture proxy estimation, land cover data for the agriculture masking from the ESA world cover 2021 data, and the administrative boundaries are from the FAO gold data set, and the groundwater data, that is the most important data sets on which we have faced lot of problem in getting that data. So we have actually got the data from CGWB NECUM report, CGWB data portal, as well as the Punjab State Water Resource Department for the groundwater levels and groundwater status, and the agriculture data for the irrigation stress frequency, as well as the irrigation share of the irrigation water from the groundwater, that we have got from the Punjab statistical abstract and the groundwater resources of Punjab report from by the WRD and the CGWB for the irrigation intensity and crop pattern. And the energy data that we have used in this study is from the PSPCL energy statistics report, and the study period that we have taken for our studies from 2019 to 2025, that is we have taken the 7 years data. So the moving on to the next that is the first problem, or the first component is the groundwater stress problem in the Sangrur district. The districts consistently shows the increase in depth to groundwater level, indicating progressive groundwater depletion with temporary recovery after the monsoon season. So this plot that we have actually drawn, this plot actually shows the average groundwater level trend from 2019 to 2015, and we can clearly see that the pre and post monsoon levels actually progressively been high throughout the years, or progressively high from 2019 to 2025. It means that groundwater levels are declining year-wise. So the overall trend indicates continuous groundwater depletion in the Sangrur region, and these two bar chart are first is the stage of groundwater extraction of the Sangrur districts, and we can also clearly see that in all the years, that is from 2019 to 2025, the stage of groundwater extraction is more than 100%. So that's why the district has been characterized as the overexploited
district.
Groundwater overexploited district. And the groundwater recharge versus the groundwater extraction bar chart also shows that the groundwater extraction is more than the groundwater recharge, due to which there is decline of groundwater level in all the 7 years. So we have actually plotted the block-wise groundwater trend comparison for the pre-monsoon as well as post-monsoon season. And for the pre-monsoon season, all blocks shows increasing depth, indicating groundwater table is declining. The Bhavanigarh and the Duri have the deepest water table. Sangrur and Dirba are comparatively shallower, but still declining. Trend reflects high groundwater extraction for irrigation in the Sangrur district. And in the post-monsoon season, the post-monsoon levels are also shallower than the pre-monsoon because of the recharge after the rainfall. And the Sunam, Bhavanigarh and Duri shows relatively deeper groundwater levels whereas the Andana and the other name of Andana is Munak, Sangrur and Dirba are comparatively shallower but still declining. So this season has also had also shown the same trend, that is high groundwater extraction for irrigation in the Sangrur district. So moving on to the next part or the next component of the study is the agriculture irrigation pressure on groundwater. It means the how much amount of irrigation water are from the groundwater, and due to that due to the irrigation water that is being pumped from the groundwater, what is the effect of that amount of water or that component on the groundwater, that is the irrigation component. So we have actually found out the cultural command area, net irrigated area through groundwater. It means that how much amount of how much amount of area have been irrigated through groundwater source, and ultimately we have actually calculated the groundwater irrigation ratio, and when we actually draw the conclusion from this table, we can see that groundwater irrigation, when there is an increase in groundwater irrigation ratio, and will actually result in increase in pumping, and will ultimately have a negative impact on the groundwater levels. So the higher groundwater irrigation ratio indicates greater dependence on the groundwater for irrigation, which increases pumping intensity and results in declining groundwater levels over time. So this is the bar chart for the groundwater irrigation ratio by blocks. Blockwise analysis shows that the groundwater irrigation ratios ranges from 61.9% in Lehargaga to the 115.5% in Sangrur. Why there is more than 100 in the Sangrur? It may be due to the very high dependence on the groundwater irrigation. No, it may be due to the contribution from the canal water also. It has taken account the contribution from the canal water. So this is these are the plots. First one is the cultural command area versus the groundwater irrigated area. It also shows this plot also shows the strong positive relationship between the cultural command area and groundwater irrigated area. And most blocks have the groundwater irrigation ratio more than 80%, which shows that the most of the irrigation have been done through the groundwater. And Sangrur exceeds the 1 by 1 line, that is the blue line, and the orange line is the regression line. So it indicates that irrigation beyond the like I have mentioned just earlier, that it actually shows the contribution from the
command area. Canal command area.
And the other plot from the other bar chart, the blocks with higher dependence on groundwater irrigation tend to exhibit greater groundwater level. So this relationship indicates that the intensive groundwater extraction for irrigation is a key driver of groundwater depletion in the district. So the other work or the other component of the work is the detection of irrigation stress using remote sensing. So we have used the Sentinel-1 SAR data to derive the soil moisture proxy for the agriculture areas. So this is the actually the plot or the curve for the soil moisture proxy time series, that is from the 2019 to 2024. So sorry, we have actually we have not done it up to 25. And actually this plot does not shows the real soil moisture, but it actually shows the actually acts as a proxy for the soil moisture. So from this from all these data we have actually mapped the irrigation stress frequency, and in which the most of the areas in the Sangrur districts falls under the very high irrigation stress frequency, due to which there is groundwater over extraction or more pumping. And the other part of the study is the energy demand for the from the irrigation. So the groundwater irrigation in Punjab is largely powered by the electric pump sets used for the tube wells, The agriculture accounts for approximately 30 to 35% of the total electricity consumption in Punjab, and due to the due to the so for the pumping we require electricity. So subsidized electricity for farmers encourages excessive groundwater extraction, increasing pressure on both water and energy systems. So we have taken data from the Punjab State Electricity Board report, and we have plotted this like agriculture energy consumption. What is the agriculture energy consumption block wise? So the what are the outcomes of our study?
Yes, come to that point.
Yes, ma'am. So the satellite-derived soil moisture analysis identify the irrigation stress zones across Sangrur district. These areas indicate high dependence on groundwater pumping for irrigation. So the implementing soil moisture-based irrigation advisory can help in reducing the unnecessary irrigation, and reduced irrigation demand can lead to water savings, lower pumping energy, and reduced electricity subsidy burden. Decreasing groundwater pumping directly contributes to reducing the that is the energy which is being used for the irrigation. Improved irrigation scheduling can contribute to sustainable groundwater management and reduce environmental impact. So the lower electricity demand can also help in reducing the government expenditure, because government gives subsidies on the agriculture power. And the other one is the efficient irrigation management also results in reduced carbon emissions with due to the electricity generation process. So the overall approach demonstrates how remote sensing can support integrated decision making within the water energy environment nexus. So when we have the irrigation advisory, it will reduce the irrigation demand, and it will save the groundwater, or it will help in increasing the groundwater level, which will further help in energy saving, and ultimately it will lower the carbon emissions. So these are the policy implications. So the Sangrur district represents the groundwater dependent agriculture system where intensive rice wheat cultivation has resulted in high irrigation demand. Groundwater observations indicate deep water table levels and overexploited aquifers, confirming unsustainable groundwater use. Agriculture electricity consumption across blocks highlights the strong linkage between the groundwater pumping and energy demand. Satellite-derived soil moisture analysis successfully identified the spatial irrigation stress hotspots across the Sangrur district. Areas experiencing the frequent soil moisture stress indicate the higher dependence on the groundwater irrigation and the increase in the pumping energy. And integrating the satellite observation with groundwater and energy data provides us the comprehensive understanding of the water energy environment nexus of that area. So, and the soil moisture based irrigation advisory system can also help us in optimizing the irrigation timing and reduce unnecessary groundwater abstraction. And incorporating these all data sets or this type of a study can help in groundwater governance by the state agencies as well as central agencies, and can help in making the energy management policies which will ultimately support the sustainable agriculture water use. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Anup. I know you have done a lot of work for presenting this data, and it took a lot of time and energy. You have been into the field, so kudos to you. My one question is, you have talked about the pumping irrigation water, and you have talked about the cultural command area also. So they are having the surface water also available there?
Yes, ma'am.
From the data where we have taken, that is the Food and Agriculture Organization.
FAO data.
So they have classified the data, means from the groundwater source, how much is the irrigated area, that is the net irrigated area, and from the surface water, how much is the irrigated area.
Yes.
How much from the groundwater also.
Yes.
So they have given two type of maps.
Okay. So now the one question is, which you have, I think you have not given that kind of perspective, like what kind of energy demand is coming up, because you have talked about the irrigation potential, and you have, in your model or whatever you are saying, that we have to align the real time data.
Yes, ma'am.
But this energy demand you have taken in your study or
Yes,
not?
ma'am. We
You
have
have
actually
taken
taken this into account, but actually we couldn't
Plot.
get the data for all the 2019 to
Okay,
2025.
okay.
So
Yes.
we have actually drawn the conclusion based on the that year 2022 to 2023.
Okay,
year.
okay,
Yes.
okay. That's it.
Due
So-
to, ma'am, because there is a lot of difficulty we
I
face
know.
while taking
I-
That is the main problem
while
for
searching
organization.
this type of data sets.
That
And
is
we
true.
have we had very less time. That's why
Okay.
we could have been able
Okay,
to.
okay. So,
go
thank you
into
so
that.
much. We will take the questions from the audience later on. Now we will move to Gopal. So, I think, okay, you can.
Yeah, yeah.
He's presenting for the. Okay.
On behalf
Yeah, yeah, on behalf of, okay.
Swati.
Oh, yeah, Swati Tak, huh?
Thank you, Anoop, for your presentation. Now I would like to call upon Mr. Gopal Prasad Patel. He is a PhD research scholar, Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering, IIT Delhi. He will be presenting the paper on behalf of Ms. Swati Tak, right? I don't know her designations, so I shall just take a leave. Thank you.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. So, this is not my work and this is not my area also. So, I'll try to explain each and every point what the ma'am wanted to convey here. So, I am a Gopal Prasad Patel, PhD research scholar in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering. So, for the today's presentation, my topic is analyzing the groundwater recharge zone using the remote sensing and GIS in the Banaskantha region, that is in Gujarat. So my presentation outline will be the introduction, the hydrological cycle, how it is going to impact the surface water and groundwater, what are the parameters for assessment using the remote sensing and GIS, and what is the study area, how we are going to identify the groundwater potential zones so that we can have the proper maps for the sufficient withdrawal of the groundwater. Now at last we will have the conclusion. So as we all know, we have two sources of the water, that is the surface water and the groundwater. Out of 100%, only 0.32% water is available in the groundwater sources, that too less than 800 meter depth. So to have the to feed such a large population, we need to have a proper groundwater exploration for the agriculture purpose, for the industrial purpose, for the urban water management. We need to have a proper plan and we need to identify the which area is having the how much amount of the groundwater resources so that the amount of water we can utilize for the different sectors. So water is the most vital materials for the mankind and regions with the easy availability of the waters, and where we are identifying the water, we are known as this region is a very prosperous region. Now the groundwater hydrology, surface water hydrology, these both hydrology sectors are dealing with the occurrence, distribution and the movement of the water, that is the below and the surface of the earth. Due to the over exploitation of the surface water for the different purposes, demand on the groundwater has increased many folds. So the remote sensing is the most advanced space technology, is being widely used for the exploration and management of the natural resources, which is both time and cost effective. So now if we are dealing with the hydrology, we need to have the proper understanding of the hydrological cycle. That is a incoming and outgoing sources, and what is the media, what is the process. So as we know, we are the hydrologists from the masters, and now we are doing our PhD in the water resources engineering. So the incoming source is the only all forms of precipitation, that will be the snowfall, rainfall, sleet, haze, drill, any kind of the water that is coming from the atmosphere to the ground surface. But when it is going to the atmosphere, it will have the many different parts and the components, like we have evaporation, transpiration, evapotranspiration, we have a interception losses, we have a runoff, we have a seepage loss, many kinds of losses are there. So out of which the runoff and the debris and the some kind of storage is very more beneficial for the groundwater recharge. So this is a more or brief idea about the how the water is going to circulate. Now to identify the groundwater potential zone, what is the groundwater potential? So this is nothing but the volume of water which can be abstracted over a period from an aquifer without adversely affecting the quantity and quality of the water or the environment above the aquifer. So for finding the groundwater potential zone, the groundwater mapping need to be done using the remote sensing and the GIS data. So groundwater mapping is nothing but the multidisciplinary technique we need to apply. Like we need to have the land use, land cover, we need to have a soil data, we need to have a rainfall, we need to have the lineament density, drainage density, slope gradient, and the other GIS tools also. We need to have a proper GIS coordinate system also. So we have a different parameters for the groundwater recharge assessment, like first order or the direct indicators and the second order or the indirect indicators. For the first order, that is a direct indicator where we can easily identify using the remote sensing images. That will also that I will show in the next slides. So the second order, the indirect indicator, that is like a topographic features or the general surface gradients that we need to process through the some GIS or the remote sensing tools. So this is the overlay analysis, how we can achieve the groundwater potential zone. So first is the lithology, second is the slope. Then after achieving the slope, we'll go to and identify the drainage network, drainage density and the drainage map. After that, we'll identify the lineament maps, like we have a fold, faults, unconformity, joints. Based on that, and along with this, we are adding the land cover map, like the land use land cover map based on our requirement, and the soil map also we are adding, and at the end we'll have the final output as a groundwater potential zone map. So the study area is Banaskantha region, that is situated in the Gujarat state of the India. The total area of the study is 12,703 kilometers square, and here the groundwater is the limited source, and here main problem is the groundwater availability in this region. To ensure the sustainable development of this region, it is therefore essential to develop the accurate piezometer and the geographic maps even in the area that are most difficult to access. So we have processed the DEM, like the digital elevation model from the USGS, using the ArcGIS 10.5 software. In that, first we have done the identify the past wells, like how many dug wells or the piezometer wells was present there, and the second isolate the track left, use the draw water. Like we have classified the all the wells into two categories. First is for the drawdown wells, and second for the recharge wells, where we are having the continuous piezometer available for the proper monitoring. And at the end, we are estimating the water depth based on the drawdown and the recharge. After carefully calibrating the method, we were able to use the open data, that is a digital elevation model imagery, which is freely accessible from the Google Earth Pro. We have a different platform where it is available. After this GIS maps for the year 2011 to 2020, we have done this study. And so this is the two map you are able to see. The right side where you are able to see like a blue color line, that is nothing but the hydro river side, that is having the 12 degree of the hydro river side, where the drainage patterns are you can identify the first order, second order, third order drainage map or the stream order. In the left side you are able to see the all the topographical features like railway, roadway, waterways, land use, and specifically the Banaskantha region. So in the parameters estimation, I was talking about the direct method, that is where we are where we can see the remote sensing images from the satellite, and we are easily identify that which is the area and what are the features we can have. So for the remote sensing data, we are having the 8 elements like shapes, texture, tone, color, form. So out of which here you can see that in the lineament map, the rounded black color circle, it is indicating that few of the geological disturbance was present there. Based on that, the water recharge is going to happen there. And in the second map, you are able to see the fold and the water drainage basin, that is the reservoir present there. Third is the concentric drainage map in the both Girnar Hills region. And in another, for the lineament, we are having the dikes and the fractures also. So for the 10 years of the study, we have 4 images for the recharge purposes and for the drawdown purposes. As we have easily identified the for the few of the piezometers that are available for the recharge and for few of the piezometers that are mainly used for the drawdown purpose. In the first map, you are able to see from the October to May, Banaskantha region, that is for the recharge, and second is for the October to May 20. Like in the year 2011, we have identified the recharge map as well as the drawdown map. In the second 2020, we have the recharge map as well as the drawdown map. Out of which?
Speed up because
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
getting some message. Yes.
So based on this observation, we have the final output as this GIS map where we have a classified like very poor, good, and very good, and the basin boundary. And the left side, you are able to see the year wise how much is the recharge and how much is the drawdown. In the year 2012, we are able to see around minus 34 meter per year of the drawdown was present in the 2012, and that was the very significant amount. In the 2019 onwards, we are able to see that the 5 meter per year the recharge is continuously going on.
Yes.
So these are the few data like year wise how much amount of water is continuously recharging or the drawdowning. At the end, the conclusion is if we are using the remote sensing and the GIS tools where we need not to go to the site and we are easily sitting in the lab and identifying the how the groundwater potential zones are available. Second, the it gives the information that importance of groundwater exploration schemes can be reduce the cost and time involved in the exploration procedure. Like we need not to go to the site, we are easily sitting in the lab, we just need to have the remote sensing or satellite data. Using that satellite data, we are just processing and we have our output with us. And the remote sensing technique is the most easily and flexible. So in this country, we should have the more organization are adopting this technique, and it will become an indispensable tool in the exploration, development, and management of the water resources. Thank you.
Thank you. You reminded me my 2002 to 2005 when I was working in Banaskantha and Limkheda block, and that is really what you have told. In 2012, you know, there was no water. I just can imagine that we are just running, and you are talking about the dug wells. They were totally dried, and it is the government efforts that it has started recharging, what you have said, in 2019. So almost 10 to 15 years, you know, continuous steps. Less rainfall, this is the drought part of the country. That was the drought part of the country. And
another thing was the not proper water set management also.
yes, because that was an area where the population is also very less and not very much interventions from the Ministry of Rural Development. And now onwards, after 2002-3, there is a lot of intervention, watershed program, integrated water resource management program, and then Jal Shakti program. So there are so many programs, CGWB,
Yes,
aquifer mapping and all. So thank you so much. I think we have to finish by 5, and if there will be question, you can ask from the fellow. Now I think you can invite the next presenter.
Ms. Hiranya Tallam. She is the business development lead at Realtech GPS Systems, where she drives partnerships and scaling of smart water management solutions. Previously at the Wash Innovation Hub at ASCI, she led national projects including Jal Hi Amrit with the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, supported several startups in the water and sanitation sector, and worked extensively on sewage treatment plant performance improvement and nature-based wastewater treatment solutions. Hiranya, please. Thank you.
Ashish, may I get water?
Thank you and good evening, everyone. I will make this quick, and my presentation will not have so many maps. It will be more like a story. So, if you have any questions, that would be the interesting part of this. Yeah, thank you. Uh, right. So, today's water infrastructure in India, if you look at it, we have made very good progress in terms of the coverage of household tanks with missions like the Jal Jeevan mission, where in 2019 there was only 16 to 18% of household tap connection, to now where we have almost 98% of household tap connections. That is the infrastructure, and along with the tap connections, there are also elevated service reservoirs that were built. About 6 lakh elevated service reservoirs were built in India. India has intermittent water supply. Like you know, it's not like US or UK where you turn on the tap and there's continuous water running in the tap, there's pressure maintained in the tap. In India, we rely on intermittent water supply. That means the water is not coming to the village or a habitat continuously. There is a need to store this water, and that is where the elevated service reservoirs play a very, very crucial role in our Indian water infrastructure. Now, this water that we keep talking about, and the topic today, the transversality between them, it is inherently there. When we talk about water, it is not, we see the water as something that is flowing out of a water tap, but it's not really that. How is that water coming to the tap? It is pumped multiple times. Like for example, in Hyderabad, we have Mission Bhagirath, where there is 4-stage lifting of the water, right? So inherent need of energy, of water, and the cost of pumping and lifting that water from the source that is about 400 to 300 kilometers away to the center of the city has a lot of implications on the government. Now, this water is lost due to various reasons. It can be theft, it can be leakages, it can be overflows. The first image that you all saw on my screen when I started this presentation is something that we are going to address. That is the overflow from the elevated service reservoirs.
Thank you.
Coming back to the loss of water, due to this loss of water, about 50 billion metric tons. So metric tons are 3 more zeros had added to billion. 50 billion water is lost annually. 50,000 plus crore of revenue is lost for the government, and about 15 to 40 million kilowatt hour, that is unit of energy, is lost due to these losses. So it is very, very crucial that we address these challenges, we address these gaps and prevent overflows or leakages at any cost. That is at a macro perspective, at a country's perspective. Now let's come down to a village perspective, or what is the implication of loss of water for a village. Now, utilities or water boards or the panchayats, they often struggle with accountability. They do not know how much water they have distributed. What is the operational efficiency? Is the water going to every household on time with the same pressure, with the quantity of water that is required? The operators. Now, you can see on the bottom of the slide that this is how in many villages watermen operate these tanks. They have no idea what is the level of water inside the tank. They climb up the tank to understand it. Most often there's a gauge that is broken in like 90% of the cases. So they have to ultimately climb up, see the level of water. And there's one waterman running between 10 tanks in a panchayat. So every habitat has one tank. So in a panchayat, 10 villages, 10 tanks, and he's running between that. And by the time he finishes operating the last one and comes back to the first, that's the scenario of the first tank, where the water is overflowing. Citizens are irritated because there's unreliable water supply. They don't know when the water will come, if it will come, no, it will not come, what is the quantity of water that will come, what is the quality of water that will come. So this is how we are addressing that problem. Realtek GPS, our company, one of many. India is a huge country and with huge opportunities. So this is one approach that we have opted, where we have relied on IoT-based integrated system. Through sensors, we are able to understand what is the level of water in the tanks, and they talk to each other, the valves talk to each other, the infrastructure talks to each other, and once it is 100%, the inlet valve is closed, outlet is open. Now this is one tank, and it's all completely run on solar. India is a country where it's not only dependent on intermittent water supply, it's also intermittent electricity supply. So that is where solar energy comes in, where it will assure the functioning of the tank irrespective of energy being there or not there. The other thing is that in our elevated service reservoirs, there are 2 to 3 sources of water typically. So it can be surface water, it can be bore well, as well as the piped water that is coming from a centralized treatment location. So we have automated the pumps as well. So in a 5-kilometer radius, whatever pumping is there, whatever tanks are there, they all talk to each other. This is one tank. The second, third tank also talks to each other, what is the level of that tank, and operations are maintained in a proper manner. Just one video so that
across
we
India,
understand
villages and towns continue to rely on an unreliable intermittent water supply. This forces GPs and ULBs to depend on storage reservoirs, while operators manually check levels, open valves, and move from tank to tank. The result is frequent overflows, unreliable timing, higher energy use, and water that isn't always safe. A smarter, more reliable way to manage water systems is both possible and overdue. Introducing iTank, the smart water automation system. We use IoT technology to bring cost-effective and 24/7 non-stop water automation solution.
This technology-driven approach makes water management smarter, faster, and more cost-effective.
Wireless sensors track water levels, flow of water, and assured water quality in real time.
டேங்க்ல சென்சார் மாட்டி இருக்காங்க. அந்த சென்சார்ல வந்து நமக்கு காமிக்கும். இப்ப பாத்தீங்கன்னா அதுல 69% இருக்கு. 90 வந்தோனே கட் ஆஃப் ஆயிடும்.
Smart controllers and valves manage filling and distribution automatically. In addition to that, our automatic chlorinator will keep chlorine and pH level.
முத வந்துங்க நம்ம சிரமப்பட்டு மூட்டையில கொண்டு
So that's how they used to do the chlorination. Carry bags on their back on top of the reservoir to dose the chlorine inside the
ரொம்ப பெரிய பிரச்சனையா இருந்துச்சுன்னா
தண்ணி ஒரு நேரம் வரும் ஒரு நேரம் வராது ஒரு வீட்டுக்கு வரும் ஒரு வீட்டுக்கு வராமையும் போகலாம். ஐடாங் மாட்டினதுக்கு அப்புறம் காலையில 6 to 8 2 மணி நேரம் தண்ணி வந்து கரெக்டா வந்துட்டு இருக்குது. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வீட்டுக்கு எந்த அளவுக்கு தண்ணி வருதோ எவ்வளவு நேரம் வருதோ அதே மாதிரியே கடைசியில இருக்கிற வீட்டுக்கும் அதே அளவு அதே சமமா வருதுங்க தண்ணி.
Yeah, so you get dashboards. All our apps, like you can see the phone, the people who operate these tanks are most likely not very tech savvy. So our dashboards are very intuitive, they are graphical. So there's no much interface, you don't have to navigate through multiple pages. It's just at a click of a button and everything is through diagrams and graphical representation. So it's very important for you to, for any intervention that we take up, to have the usability for the end user kept in mind while you are designing that intervention. So this is one area where we stand out, where we pride ourselves in. 95% of the components that you see here, the valves, the level sensors, the control, everything is manufactured within our facility, and so 95% of them are manufactured in-house. Why we are saying this is that in India right now, about 60% or more of these technologies are being imported from China, Taiwan, and other sources. When we manufacture things in-house in India, we can tailor it for the country's requirement and ensure that the AMCs and the serviceability of these are robust and cost effective. We've done some innovations like the indigenous sensors and ultra low energy controllers. What we had from China or elsewhere were controllers that were taking energy every hour, but rightfully we are using this controller only twice a day, morning and evening. So we have innovated it to be very ultra low energy requirement, completely solar based like I said, and the autochlorinator, electrochlorinator. The one that you saw in the video where a person was carrying a bag of chlorine on their back to dose it on the tank, that is because a lot of these reservoirs tend to rely on groundwater and borewell water that might be infected with germs, viruses, and whatnot.
Contaminated.
So, right. Contaminated, right. So we are producing chlorine just with salt, electricity, and water through electrolysis, and this is in-house. It can be housed within the reservoir itself, and the cost of chlorination is only 2 rupees for 10,000 liters of water. This.
How much time it will take?
Can
you just speed up?
Sure.
Okay.
So what we need right now is not the more infrastructure. We want to. The need for the hour is that we manage what we already have more efficiently and intelligently, and that is where our iTank comes into picture. This will give you more data-driven, autonomous kind of approaches. Coming to the case study of Punmudi Gram Panchayat in Erode. Punmudi Gram Panchayat is located very close to SIPCOT. SIPCOT is a special economic zone where a lot of textile manufacturers are there. Punmudi consists of 9 villages with about 1,400 population, and there were 10 tanks, 10 such tanks that you all saw, larger tanks and 9 smaller tanks, out of which only 10 were operational, 9 were not operational before this. The water was supplied once in 2 days. There was frequent overflows, about 50,000 liters per day was lost due to these overflows. Borewell dependency was very high. That means unprotected sources of water were very highly relied on because the 9 tanks were not operational and they had to rely on the groundwater. So post the intervention, there was complete elimination of overflow because of the level sensors. 50,000 liters per day were saved. Out of the 19, all the 19 reservoirs were operational. That means about 200 more houses were served. Borewell dependency came down. There was high reliance on protected sources of water, treated and protected source of water, and the energy bill really came down by about 51%. The cost of water effectively came down by 30% due to optimized usage of the infrastructure, the dry run of the pumps being eliminated, solar-based pumping, as well as reliance on borewells was completely made half. So this was about the water and the energy nexus. Coming to the health nexus or health aspect of this nexus, when they were relying on unprotected sources of water, it was, like I said, it is very closely located to SIPCOT. The effluent from these textile industries were let directly into the groundwater, which was getting polluted, and these habitats had no choice but to rely on that unprotected source of water. It was yellow in color, it caused irritation and skin diseases, but they still relied on that water. So post the implementation, there was complete non-reliance on such unprotected sources of water, and the water was supplied twice every day opposed to once in every 2 days.
finish it because downstairs the
Sure. So
valedictory
one
is going
innovation
to
and many
start.
impacts.
Hmm.
The timely water supply, quantity of water supply is higher. Girls are going to get to school on time because irrespective, it is the onus of the women in this society that they are responsible for for taking care of water and managing the water within the household. Energy for utilities, GPs, 30% of the energy requirement comes down. And then we are saving this water for our future generation. These are some of our products, but yeah, right now our footprint is largely in Tamil Nadu. We are working towards taking this to other places across the country. Thank you.
So thank you, Hiranya. There are a lot of questions. We will ask questions because automation of this ELSRS is very, very important, and I think the municipalities and in the village panchayats, this PhD is responsible, so they have to take this, and I think your technology will work in tandem with their participation. So Ashish, I think we have to finish our session before 5 because the valedictory is going to start. We have now 2 speakers, and I will request to finish it within the 10 minutes.
We have a dearth of time, please. Valedictory has already started downstairs.
Oh, started.
Yeah, it has started already. And therefore, I would request Parth Bhatt and Shreya afterwards to please conclude in 5 minutes each. Thank you very much. Mr. Parth Bhatt is the Chairperson of the Board of Directors of the ECV Sustainable Youth Foundation. Please, Parth. Thank you.
So Parth, you are doing very wonderful work.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good. And we will invite you for our youth-led initiatives. We have South Asia Water Youth-led initiatives. So please come and share your experience. Hmm.
Can we put it in full screen? Or I have to scroll it down? Okay, so a very good evening, everyone. So after all these technologically innovative solutions, I'll try to pivot a bit towards the policy and decision making and leadership. So I'll be briefly exploring how planetary health diplomacy can strengthen the global cooperation in addressing the interconnected nature of the issues which we all face today. And all the issues which we face today are part of a complex interdependent planetary system, and they require a new approach for governance. And in this context, I'll be discussing 3 ideas, which is the climate environment nexus, the role of systems thinking and strategic foresight, and how these can inform a more effective international cooperation framework. So I'll be starting by briefly introducing the planetary governance challenge. So we are witnessing a convergence of multiple things happening at once in today's world. We have climate change, we have biodiversity loss, water scarcity, public health vulnerabilities, and all these are increasingly interacting with each other. And just to give a short example, like extreme climate events can disrupt water availability, it can affect agriculture, it can affect health, it can affect food security, which can further impact health further, and all these at the end affect our economy as well. And these interactions, they create a cascading risk amongst different sectors and across different borders. And it's kind of a feedback loop where one thing feeds into another, which in turn feeds to a third thing, and it again feeds to the first thing in the first place. And so that's why we need to create that's why we have a fundamental governance challenge. And policy responses, they are largely fragmented. Like as told in the first presentation, the different ministries or different organizations or different sectors are operating in different silos, while the risks which we are looking at, they are interconnected in nature. So first, now I'll be moving on to the climate environment nexus. So all the issues which we face today, as I said, they are interconnected. Like for example, climate systems, water cycles, ecosystems and biodiversity, energy infrastructure, and the human health systems. All these influence each other and they form a feedback loop. And to give some more examples, this deforestation can alter rainfall patterns and it can further affect agricultural productivity and water security. Similarly, we are talking about an energy transition in today's world, that we need to transition to more clean and renewable energy. It will also require, it will increase the demand for more critical materials, and it will also create new environmental pressures. And if we look at the geopolitical scenario, then most of the materials and the critical minerals which are required for this transition come from the China or some places. So it is a geopolitical issue as well. And it is important to understand these interactions because solutions in one sector can generate risks in another sector. Like, for example, in Southeast Asia in the 1950s and 60s, people were having a lot of issues there, and then the World Health Organization, they recommended using different pests for killing the rodents. But after some time, the people, they realized that the roofs of the houses, they were not pakka houses, they were made from raw materials and from plant-based material. They started falling. And when they later tried to get to the core issue, it was that the pests have increased because of killing the rodents. So the insects and other such things, they were eating away the roof and reducing the stability and strength of the houses. So while we create solution for one problem, we have to make sure that we look at it from a holistic perspective. It's something like a Rubik's Cube. We cannot solve white first and then red and then green and then blue. We have to focus on it holistically at once. And at times we might even have to take a few steps back and move back on what we have already done and come back stronger with a more integrated approach. Now I'll be touching upon the fragmentation in the global environmental governance. So in the Rio conference in the 1992, we had three major conventions which came up: the UNFCCC, the UN Convention on the Convention on Biological Diversity, and the UN Convention to Combat Desertification. Now the challenges which are there is that these mechanisms, although they are quite effective in addressing their problems, they're operating in different silos, and all these issues, they are interconnected in nature. Okay, so I'll be running through the slides a bit faster. So coming to planetary health diplomacy, it can be understood as an evolution of traditional environmental diplomacy, and it integrates different aspects. For example, the human well-being, the economic prosperity of a country, and the planet and the environmental degradation. And we need more systems integration. So basically, we need to align different targets and different ministries that are operating in silos in different sectors. Second thing is anticipatory governance. So for this, we need to use something known as foresight, strategic foresight, because as of now, most of our actions, they are reactive. They are reacting to something which has already happened. So we need to look towards pathways and mechanisms through which we can anticipate issues and respond to them. One of the good examples for this is the Mount Fleur exercise, which was undertaken by the government of South Africa in the 1990s. And third is equity and intergenerational justice. I won't touch much upon that because it's self-explanatory.
Yes, that don't touch in this workshop, please. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So I have one case example, which is of the Mekong River Convention. So basically, it's a convention between Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam, and Laos, and it worked on sharing data for a river system to ensure that better levels of environmental protection and food security and energy planning and regional stability. And similar conventions include regional MEAs administered by UNEP, such as the Tehran Convention, the Bamako Convention, and Abidjan Conventions. So we can take them as an example and integrate the best practices. And the planetary health diplomacy, it must integrate scenario modeling, systems risk mapping, horizon scanning, and early warning systems. And these, as I said earlier, we need to preempt the crisis. So these steps will help in anticipating emerging risks such as climate-driven displacement, transboundary water stress, and ecosystem tipping points. Coming to the last slide, the policy pathways. So there are three areas of priority which we must uh, look into. First is nexus-based policy framework. So we have to integrate different issues. Like for example, Switzerland has a Federal Office for Sustainable Development, and we need Niti Aayog is somewhere doing the same, but we have a lot of work to do because there's a lot of inertia in the systems. So we need to integrate different thematic areas. Second is strengthen multilateral cooperation, which is again pretty much self-explanatory. And third is inclusive planetary governance. So we need more track to diplomatic dialogues, and we need to involve the communities which are impacted by the decisions which we take. And so yeah, that's pretty much all. And thank you.
Thanks for giving the three best policy perspective. I think government is already working on it, and this whole workshop is based on that premises. So now we'll take the next presentation.
Shreya, please. And you have to conclude in 5 minutes. I don't have much time. I've been given minutes like anything.
And Shreya has listened all the presentations yesterday also,
Oh dear Lord.
and interacted also.
So as I have given 5 minutes to wrap up my presentation. So hello and all, I'm Shreya Pathak and I'm currently from media field. So my presentation won't include much of data, maps and anything such as technical.
Good.
But I would focus on policy aspect, I would focus on consciousness, I would focus on how we humans together can actually build a sustainable environment. So as the topic is navigating interdependencies of the water, energy, health, environment nexus. So what is water, energy, health, environment nexus is pretty much known to all. That is, it measures synergies across different sectors and enables policy decision making and evidence-based decision making across different sectors like water, energy, health, and environment. My next slide shows that how our energy choices affects environmental and how it has health outcomes. So next slide would actually make it quite what I want to say, that water, energy, food, and health all are interlinked. It doesn't operate in isolation, or it doesn't operate as something which is individual, but it is a framework that requires holistic policies and holistic management for all. So the next thing that I would like to say about is we have different how water is actually required for energy production like cooling, and how energy actually requires water for treatment and distribution. So all the sectors are linked, and how energy and water has effect on climate change. Now coming to challenges, as pretty much everyone told about silos, that how we have different ministries. We have Ministry of Power, we have Jal Shakti for water, we have Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change for environmental things. But we see that the issues that we are working on, as Parth also mentioned, are something that requires holistic management and approach. So we can't have different funding for different sectors which are actually working for policies which actually requires the contribution and the participation of all the ministries together. So if we have some programs which are led and managed by all the ministries together, it would actually help in the proper implementation of policies. Because there's a quote that I remember, that policy is 1% thinking and 99% implementation. So that is what is required. We have limited impact, and sector specific funding often fails to account for the interconnected nature of this nexus, hindering the development of holistic solutions. My policy recommendations would be something that I did not mention in the PPT. We have this one district, one product initiative. So what if we have an eco team for each district, which actually have journalists, have researchers, have youth volunteers, which actually motivates people how to undertake such sustainable solutions, such daily and unornamented things that we do in daily life. Like we know that we just, I was playing Holi in my society, and I saw this water canals and people just dancing around for 5 to 6 hours. That water was wasted, and we as individuals did nothing about it. We are talking about policies, we're talking talking about government, but we're not talking about individual actions. Yesterday when I was in this presentation, sir spoke that अगर हम ये सोचे कि सिर्फ हम क्या कर सकते हैं, but actually we have just to think that what only we can do. I cannot say that ma'am needs to do this, ma'am needs to follow this. Ma'am cannot tell me and cannot force me, but I can be conscious and I can take my own actions, and ma'am can take their own actions, and that's why that's how we can implement those policies. That is scale up, scale deep, and scale out. Scale up means we need to have impacted law and policies. Scale deep, we need to go to the deep roots, culture, and beliefs that is associated with these systems. And scale out is replication, dissemination, like increasing the number of people or communities that is being impacted by this climate change. Now, this is the topic that I mostly wanted to focus on. Being from media industry, I want to just give one example. I know we are running short of time. There was this Bhopal gas tragedy in 1984, where there was tons of methyl isocyanate that were leaked. There was this journalist Raghav Keshwani who actually before Bhopal gas tragedy reported that there could be a voluntary erupt. So that's the power of environmental journalism. When I came to this conference and when I work on reports, when I work on programs, I see that there are primetime shows that tells about Israel-Iran war, but no one tells about the energy, the green hydrogen mission, the schemes that is being launched. How can we take sustainable practices? We have journalism that talks about celebrities, but we don't have journalism talking about sustainable living. So environmental journalism was something that was practiced long years ago, and we had journalists who actually worked on grassroots levels. We had community radios. Yesterday there was this Hegel Foundation, and ma'am talked to me about how less community radios are being used today. And previously used to have programs where we had to talk about environmental issues and things, but now there is no such things. Environmental journalism has taken a backseat. So that's if we have media, if we have journalists, if we have radios, if we have organizations that actually promote sustainable use, sustainable energy living, we do not have to think about policies level. We can actually implement such policies because media ultimately acts as a link between the audience and the ministries. And the conclusion, yes, when we talk about policy changes and energy and agriculture, we need to have better outcomes, and for that we need to have a mission in our mind that is pro-planet people, as the Prime Minister has said in COP29 in Baku or COP26, that introducing lifestyle for environment mission will not help, but actually implementing it at various stages is what will actually help us. So the central theme actually revolves around bringing that health, bringing that public, and bringing the community at grassroots levels into conversation, and making a sustainable practice. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very
Good.
much.
Thank you, Shreya, for summarizing it, because you have summarized it for the whole session.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good work done by a budding journalist. Thank you so much. You have
very much, Shreya. You have been very cooperative. I appreciate it. And whatever you told just now regarding what we were talking of is sustainability and stuff. Before dissemination, awareness, and everything, I believe conscious is something which needs to be developed in people. And conscious doesn't develop in 1 or 2 days. It takes generations and generations. India is a nation. It's a very heterogeneous nation, and we have different people here. And for that, those divisions need to be,
work together.
Work together. It's very difficult otherwise. Thank you. Now we'll be felicitating the speakers, and then we'll wind up and we'll go. And please, I would request you to please join us for the valedictory, which is happening right now at the downstairs. Thank you. Anup Dongre. Yeah, please.
Anup, idhar se. Good research, good hard work.
A round of applause, please.
Done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gopal Prasad.
She is
This is on
Kavita.
behalf. Yeah, she's downstairs.
Okay.
Miss Hiranya. Part.
Parts.
You would have come from that side. It's okay.
No issue. Thank you.
And Shreya, thank you for concluding the session on time.
Good.
So much,
Good.
ma'am.
हाँ ग्रुप फोटो ले लो भी आ जाओ नीरज आप
I
भी
anyway want to have one picture
I
with
really
the.
want to take your number for
Yeah,
programs.
yeah,
If you could call me.
I
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to have. I
definitely.
also
Yeah.
want to have a picture with Dr. Veena. I
Ah.
don't have any picture.
yes yes why not
We come from.
I work with all the young people because